This is better, I
On
hope.
the air, you're in the broadcast.
All right. Okay. All right. Hopefully, this is much better.
That's way better. What changed?
I just rebooted my Mac. Sometimes, and I'm using. I'm in the beta testing group for Ecamm, so I'm just testing a few things here and there. So could
You
be the
sent a quick
drivers.
message to HQ. Ecamm HQ got a message from Nilesh. Sort us out.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So we can continue. Yes. So where were we? I think when Laurel. Yes, please continue. I think let me track the post in the meantime.
Oh, I don't remember what I was saying. It was probably nonsense.
It was really interesting. And whatever it was, I was like, yeah.
I will say that one of my ongoing battles always is, should I have a WordPress-based LMS? And I own some lifetime deals on those, and I've tried LearnDash, and I've got BuddyBoss and WP Courseware and those kind of tools. Or do I use the Udemy's in future? I don't mind putting a little course up there, which is part of my funnel, so that people go and do a free or cheap course on Udemy, and at the end of it, and that they are so strict that you're not allowed to link to anything or brand anything, but there's little sneaky ways that you can basically tell people to come and do a deeper course with you, so you can use the marketplaces as a funnel. But I don't know. I know WordPress, I know it really well, and that just makes me really hesitant to run my own school. I'm lazy.
Yeah.
What can I say? I just want to shove the
Can
courses up and forget about it.
I say a little bit there because I've done a lot of development over the years, and I've done a lot of LMS courses. Not as many as you, Laurel, but yeah, it's up there in the dozens for sure. We used to do everything on WordPress, and the big benefit with WordPress is that it's relatively low cost and it's hugely flexible. But the big problem with WordPress is that you have to keep developing it. You need to have a gun on your team, or you have to have somebody that you hire part-time that can manage the database, manage the plugins, manage everything for you. Otherwise, you're a content creator, you're a jack of all trades that's managing affiliate sales and traffic, and it just gets bewildering, and you never sleep. And I've actually had a business that I was running that I wouldn't sleep for like 3 days at a time. Like seriously, it was so stressful. So I can highly recommend not doing it on WordPress, even though WordPress seems to be the most flexible way of doing things. It's really like a death sentence once
There's
you
a
get
lot
in
of
it.
moving parts. So I think one of the problems when you're using somebody else's framework is that although it's all in one bucket and you get it, like Spay or Teachable, and you can't add to it. Like Teachable doesn't have a forum. They say they have a discussion forum, but it's really just comments on a video.
Right.
And so I like forums. I'm social. I'm an online community manager. I want forums. But then you get WordPress, and by the time you've added in BuddyBoss and a shopping cart with commerce, and you've added in the LMS, and you've added in the Directorist or some directory software, and you've added in the BuddyPress or MemberPress or whatever it is you're doing. Yes, I agree. I'm surprised you only lost 3 nights sleep.
Oh no, I kept that up for a good wee while. We had a humming little business, but it was both my business partner and I had mini burnouts over kind of like every couple of months. You'd have a burnout and take a week's break, and then you're back to it. I was going to ask you a question. Have you ever tried Mighty Networks?
Oh yeah, a little bit, but I initially put them in the same bucket as is it Discord, and what are the other ones I have? Discord, Slack, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they added courses, didn't they? Or they added some kind of an LMS to it. I don't remember.
Like a community more of like Discord. It's still like Discord. I think they received quite a bit of funding. And they have some big communities and they're okay, but I mean, overall, when it comes to communities, I mean, we had a whole discussion. We actually had a thread, which you are part of as well, Laurel. I mean, it's really hard to, I mean, people will join the community, but outside of Facebook, I mean, you got to be the size of like indie hackers or something to really get that engagement going kind of thing.
Or be really interested in a little niche group. So I've got an off Facebook group that's for politicians, mostly their media advisors.
Yeah.
And I run little sessions in there and education sessions. And a lot of that just has to do with the fact that they don't want to be in the Facebook environment in case they're saying things that might get hacked. And actually, that is one thing, is security. I always look at security for the sites.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some of them are not as secure as they could be. And I think that's one of the reasons I haven't moved across to SPAY at the moment, because I've got a lot of .gov email addresses in my network. And just the thought of some of the things that we talk about being on the front page of the paper.
Yeah. You never think, I mean, us normal people that have normal people with Gmail addresses and Hotmail addresses don't really think about implications like that, but it's an important one.
Laurel,
Yeah,
I mean, to the Circle community.
Yeah.
I added you to our Circle community. What are your thoughts on that? Have you had a chance to take a look?
I didn't realize, but Circle has circle.so, isn't it? Or something?
Yes.
IO? Circle.so.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I went to join, I realized that I had already joined for somebody uses it as their help community. Do you know who it is?
Yeah, SPI. It's that guy. He's that Filipino guy. What's his name? Pat Flynn. He teaches on. Sorry. Pat Flynn.
Let me just log in and it'll probably tell me.
Pat Flynn.
Oh, Pat Flynn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Circle community.
Mastera also uses it as their help community, so they're using it as a like a help scout type of tool. Do you know Help Scout?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Mastera uses it as their knowledge base.
Like they're using Help Scout, you mean, or Circle?
They're using Circle.
Oh,
if you go to help.mastera.io, it's actually Circle.
Yeah, there's some really nice. I'm going to check that out because I want to see how they build. There's some really, really nice niche communities on Circle, and a lot of creators actually, building their communities on, which is very interesting. I mean, there is a guy from New Zealand, the whole tiny house movement. Have you seen him?
Oh, yeah, really, I know him.
Oh, yeah. He has a community on Circle.
Did he build it on Circle, did he?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He built it on Circle. It's really good community. And, I mean, I'm another community, and they're actually the founders of Circle. They're they have a community. I don't recall the name, but they talk about productivity, and it's like a very thriving community. So I think Circle has come along, like from an engagement perspective, Circle is really good, but
you'd have to split up your audience. I always split them into two, and one is, if I'm doing marketing, it's got to be Facebook groups, and push comes to shove, maybe LinkedIn groups, because marketing is about brand awareness, brand education, people having to see you 8 to 11 times before they remember you, all that kind of stuff. So if I'm working with clients, then we would go with a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group for marketing. But I think if you're moving them down a funnel, And I never put the online course at the end of the funnel. There's always stuff beyond there. Then I would suggest that, because how do you get people to leave Main Street and trek out to the burbs?
Yeah.
To leave them Facebook Main Street
Yes.
and trek out
Yeah.
to the suburbs to get something, unless it's really cool, like and the tiny house guy is cool, but look at his funnel. I mean, he's got a phenomenal following on YouTube.
He
And it's
does.
his girlfriend, I think, that does the photography, the videography, and the editing.
Yes.
And he does a lot of public speaking at tiny house and digital nomad events, and he's a key influence in that area.
Yes.
So one thing I do know is if you have the brand where people want to connect to you, then they'll come. Or
Yes.
we've got an airline here called Qantas.
Yes.
And they have a special group which is invitation only, and if you don't contribute for a month, you get dropped out of the group and the next person in the wait list gets moved in. And it's lots of them testing releases on you and product ideas, mostly in the business community. And in return, you get upgraded from economy seats, you get all this other special stuff. So, but that's just a variation on coupon communities, join our community and get discounted coupons. So it's just that it's targeting business travelers and that they can get upgraded to business or first class if they join. So I think what's the sales proposition to get people away from Facebook into the suburbs?
Yeah, I mean, unless you are a developer or like you have something to offer in return, I mean, it would be, or there should be some sort of like perks and stuff, I mean, where we offer everybody who joins certain perks, like what you mentioned about contests, right? So, I mean, if everybody who...
the gamification, it has to be on point. Absolutely on point. On Facebook, you're fighting the algorithm, but to get people to come back... I remember when Udemy killed off their Facebook group and moved their lecturers onto a private community. I never heard from them again. Like, I was always contributing because I'd see stuff in my news feed. One thing I did want to say is, are you aware that Facebook groups have an education component? You can put courses into Facebook groups.
Yeah. I've never tried it, but it looks amazing. Have you tried it?
Yeah, I've been running one for a few years now. They just recently changed everything from modules to guides. But I think you have to be in the category of your group category has to be community, maybe. I can find out and put up in the group later. But if you've got a Facebook group and you've chosen, I think it's community, you get the option for guides, and then I put up examples in my community of PDF lectures, video lectures, audio lectures.
We've got to jump on that, Neelish. We should be doing that. Hey, putting up guides on social media and LMSs and sales and marketing and analytics.
Absolutely.
It's still a bit crappy. If you want me to show you what it looks like, oh no, with the screen's probably too small. But just if you get stuck, let me know, because you have to enable it, the guides function.
Yeah.
But to me, it's a powerful tool.
Yeah.
And it would allow Facebook to become an educational tool as opposed to a weekend drama tool, which we know all about.
Only the weekend.
So only the weekend, yeah. Wow. Everything drama tool, basically. Anything you can poke a stick at, drama tool. But I was going to say, it's interesting how Facebook's going with their integrations with Shopify, right? So now they're doing LMS, like you're saying, but now they're also integrating with Shopify. And I do wonder if they're really looking to set themselves up to disrupt Udemy. They have all of the feedback loops to be able to do it. They'll be able to absolutely destroy Udemy with their marketplace and the way that everybody's interconnected.
Oh, Udemy's already destroyed themselves. I mean, for me, Udemy now is that low-hanging fruit. If you want a course for $1 or $5, you go to Udemy. Google's move into edX. I don't know if you know edX.
Right.
And I think somebody else has Coursera. That's interesting. Partly because Google's always had a fascination with pulling with education, which is why they have Google Apps for Education. They collect all the big data around schools, and then they do a predictive analysis on where those students will be in 5 to 10 years, because they've now got so much data. They can run that kind of look at those data sets and analyze that. But yes, as they move into I did a presentation for the Australian Vice Chancellors Committee Group, which is all the vice chancellors of the universities. And one of the big things we were talking about at the round table was nano courses and micro degree, like nano degrees. People want just a quick course on how to do email marketing. They don't necessarily want to do 3 years in digital. And I teach undergraduates and postgrads. I still have the scars from teaching undergrads and postgrads. You know, the biggest difference between undergrads and the rest of the world when it comes to this sort of stuff, undergrads always ask, they've got one question: what do I need to know to pass the exam? When you teach small business, they're like, how can I make money from this? What can I do with this? Like, they're so passionate about using that knowledge, and undergrads just want to know the barest minimum that they have to do. So bless their little con socks.
Yes, the education system. Who's doing micro degrees or nano degrees? I came across that when I was doing lead generation for coding boot camps, and there was a group that does exactly that. They call them nano degrees. I forget that.
Coursera does. Alison
Coursera
does. I think Alison is the largest online education platform, primarily because I think it's England and India. edX is another one, but edX have Harvard, Berkeley. Do you say Berkeley or Berkeley? I never know with Americans. Boston
Berkeley.
University. Berkeley, okay. And lots of universities. One of the things that was interesting with Harvard, I thought, was they put their medicine degree up on YouTube. And the 1-hour lectures were just recorded and put up on YouTube. You can do the whole Harvard medicine degree on the Harvard YouTube channel, but you can't get a Harvard degree because that you have to pay for. And that separation of that democratization of education and separation of the content from the piece of paper and from the trustiness and from the authority ranking was so interesting to me.
That's huge.
Because it means now that little universities in the backwoods of somewhere or the other can give their students the Harvard courses and then just examine them on them, kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, we've seen this with knowledge in general, right? So I don't know if you follow Ad Skills. So Ad Skills by Justin Brooke. So a lot of his courses were like $500, $1,000, $3,000. And now you can get all of that content for $8.99 per month. And in fact, you can get most of it for free on YouTube. So they're figuring out the same model. The same model basically is that information now is everywhere. You know, everybody can get whatever information they want, whether it's on YouTube, like you said before, Udemy for $13 US or whatever. And so these institutions now are figuring out, oh, well, people can get this information, so we may as well make our information free. And let's figure out where the value add is. And I thought that, like you, I thought that was extremely clever. And I've been thinking about this a lot and seeing this model. So if you are selling information, one of the alternatives that you are competing with is all of the free information that's out there. So my wife has built out an online yoga platform, but she's competing with Yoga with Adrian, and her videos are in 4K, and they're excellent, and she's really likable, and she's established for like 5 or 6 or 10 years, and so all these things you got to take into account.
I never looked to my competitors, and one of the reasons, there's a girl at the moment who's doing She's got millions of views. She's got people signing up for her online courses. Her production value of her videos are poor. I don't think you need to have high production values. If you can explain things clearly, people will sign up either way. I do know that people sign up for my stuff because they want me to explain it to them. And you know, sometimes I feel like saying to them, you could just have Googled this and you would have found a video on how to do this. And yeah, I'm charging you $300 an hour to take you, not all the time, just occasionally, but to take you through some of these things. And they don't want to. They want me to explain it to them. So there is that as well.
Well, I understand
I
that. But,
don't.
we were talking about this the other day, me and Neelish, which is that, let's say you're a director of a company. Your dollar value is literally $300 an hour or more. And what you don't want to do is sit there watching even half an hour of a YouTube video, even though the answer is there. Why? Because you're so overloaded with work and there's so much vagueness. So you know that you could do the, let's say, half an hour video or hour video, but at the end of it, you're still going to be confused and you could be sitting there for 1 or 2 days. All you do want to do is get the job done, get the result, move on. And that's why it is worth paying someone like you, let's say $300 an hour or more, you know, if it comes to that.
So one of the things that I'm realizing is, first of all, people don't value anything that's free. So I don't put my stuff out for free. I'll put it out on YouTube or Facebook as social content, and it could be a very good quality tutorial. It doesn't matter. It's out there. But they often don't value it because it's there and it's free. So that's one thing I'm aware of. Remembering, though, you have to adapt for your clientele. So my clientele are government and corporate, and they don't want afterpay and they don't want to pay on a payment scheme. They're just like, we just send it through the central finance office and they pay. So, you know, like it's not an issue for them. But I do want to basically give recorded content away for free. But if you want my personal time to walk you personally through this, that's a premium dollar. And one of the things I've noticed with generosity, the more generous you are with your knowledge and your information, you know, blogging and YouTubing and whatever you can do, the more generous you are with that, the more people are like, I could have anybody out there, but I want her or him or whatever, you know, like it seems to, I know that I've been asked to speak at conferences because everybody at the conference put my name down because a lot of people at the conference had passed around a video about their industry that I'd done and they thought it was useful. So they'd put my name down. And then the conference organizer's like, I don't know who you are, but everybody wants you. I'm like, yeah, I gave them a free video. So it's such a balancing act, though. What is free? What do they pay for? You know, I know that agencies will come in and do all the work I charge for free because they want to take on a contract. Yes. But I don't care. Go do it for free. I'm not going to do it for free.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, a lot of this is about capability too. So, you know, authority and capability. And if you can establish that up front, you know, and if you can do that with a free video without giving away too much value, then people want you, you know, like going back to the whole director or the CTO. One thing I've noticed with the accounts that I work on with digital analytics and stuff, and I have the saying, and it's capability is, or competence is not common. So we all can point. Right. It seems so simple. Like we got people. There's more people than ever that are coming out with masters and PhD degrees, and yet they're incompetent. How is that possible? You know, and back 100 years ago, a degree meant that you were a gun. You know, you knew what you were talking about. These days, a degree just means that you know how to bum around and know how to do the minimum amount on your BA and come out with a degree.
Yeah, you tick the boxes.
Hey, just let me.
I will say though that. Go ahead.
Yeah. Just let me acknowledge a few folks here. Sorry, guys, we had to disconnect the session and then connect back in.
Technical
details. Thanks for pointing it out, and thanks for sticking around. Thanks, Alston, Danny, Felipe. Who else are we missing? Kayo. Casey Wong was here, but I think we might have lost him. But thanks, guys. And then
I think Jenny made an appearance as well.
Jenny did make an appearance. Thanks, Jenny. Hope you're still listening. And we should invite Jenny for the next session as well. So, yeah. And then go ahead, Laurel. Sorry to interrupt. And then we can jump to Joel, who has been waiting patiently. He has a few things to say about LMS.
I'm just listening. No, I'm enjoying this. Don't worry. This is great.
Well,
yeah.
I just wanted to say one thing, and then I'll let the others have a word in. One of the reasons why I thought Mastera is interesting, although I'm cross with the way they've handled a few things, but I can offer what I call dead content, which is pre-recorded courses in an online course, which will be low cost. There has to be some cost or they won't value it, but at a low cost. And it also has live sessions and bookings with me. So it truly is an all-in-one solution. I don't have to have a booking solution over here where people will pay top dollar to have one-on-one or small group sessions with me. And then over here, I can put out the more, the stuff I can put up on YouTube. If my funnel is you Googled how to do something, you watched Laurel's video on YouTube, and then in the video I mentioned I've got a free course, or I've got a downloadable PDF that will help you fill this in, come here and give me your email address. And then the one after that is, okay, you've given me your email address. Now I'm going to send you through an offer for an online course that's, cost effective for you. And then after that, it's, oh, you want private sessions. Now I'm looking for solutions that work better together rather than having, I've got Book Like a Boss over here.
Same.
And I've got New Zenler over here. Maybe it's Mastera. I don't know.
I face the same problem. I face the same problem. I've got Book Like a Boss. I've got WP something or other, forget, a wishlist member. That's it. And I have used MemberPress too, Joe. Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
Laurel, what haven't you got, by the way? It's easier just to list what you haven't got yet.
Yeah. Look, I haven't got Heights, but I've put an offer into a guy. I'm hoping he's going to come back to me and give it to me.
Do you have a Cato?
Don't forget, though, I created my own first online course in 2007. And then before that, I was creating online courses for people like Cisco and stuff. So, I see a platform and go, oh, what's that? Because I'm incredibly nosy when it comes to LMS. And I have a mental checklist. Yeah, well, do you have I was thinking one of the things we could do is go around and say what is on our checklist, and then maybe document that for the group in the future to say, perfect LMS, what's on it, what's not on it, what do you wish New Zenler had on it, or Teachable had on it, or Spay had on it that it doesn't have? Because I think it's difficult when I'm helping people navigate which LMS they should get. They don't know what they don't know. So I'm like, do you want a forum? And they're like, I don't know.
Yeah. We can certainly create that. We can certainly, that's one of the reasons we wanted to have Circle, so that we can create some of this more interesting content on there, because it's really hard to do that on Facebook. We just wanted to create that and post it and then give some users ability to collaborate and go and edit it and things of that nature. But what you're mentioning, Laurel, we wanted to do that with so many different apps. For sure.
Yes. And people always assume that their needs are other people's needs. In fact, I was having a discussion today in the group about Delicious. Do you remember Delicious, the old tagging program?
Yeah.
And I realized Delicious had so many different features that people were comparing it to other products that I was like, that's not Delicious. And I realized it's just because the way I use Delicious was in a different way than they were using it. So there is an assumption about what people want. Jason, what are your What's your decision-making process when it comes to choosing an LMS? What's top priority, and what do you really not care if it's there or not?
Yeah, Laurel, it's a great question, and I think you've already made probably the biggest point is to understand who you're marketing to, and then that helps with whichever platform you're looking at. So the big thing for me is my demographic is probably busy parents, don't have much time, got 2-3 kids, they're volunteer parents, soccer coaches, they don't have time to research, they need to access information really quickly, and it needs to be affordable. So trying to get a really good understanding of that, one of the biggest things for me was a platform that had the ability to get an app to make it mobile. I don't think many busy parents sit in front of a laptop or a desktop anymore and spend an hour looking at their computer. I think it's all done, eating a slice of toast, drinking a cup of coffee in the morning with a quick 5 minute scan on the mobile phone. So that was something that was really important to me. Are
your courses for children or for the parents?
For adults, so they're for coaches. And
coaches,
it was interesting. Oh, no problem. It was interesting listening to you and Win there, because in the industry that I'm in, I'm going to give the keys to the castle here, but I think this is I don't think there's many other soccer coaches in this community.
I haven't heard of any, so I think you're safe.
Does that make me number one, Win? I'll take that.
I'm pretty sure you are.
I can't guarantee these numbers, but I'm going to keep it easy. I think 80% of the soccer coaching industry is volunteer coaches, volunteer parents, or very minimal paid coaches. And then 20% are elite. Now, I come from the elite world, but 80% of content is elite, and only 20% of that is for the grassroots. That's so although I have the elite background, I'm trying to really get to understand the needs of the grassroots community.
Dude,
because
did you read that book?
Scaling Lean?
Yeah, did you read it?
Not yet.
Dude, you got to read it.
It's in my queue of win reads.
It's like I'm actually Ash Maria in disguise. So, What you just said is described in Scaling Lean. So honestly, you got to read that, because it actually describes how you need to bridge those two knowledge gaps. Sorry, carry on.
Well, the interesting thing, and to get a certain level of knowledge in my industry, you have to go through like maybe an 8-year formal qualification pathway. Not like a degree where it's a full-time study, but for me to get to the highest level, which I got to, that was, I think, 12 years of continuous professional development. The volunteer coaches they can't take time off work, or, that valuable time with their family, that it's just not feasible. So trying to make the information accessible to the coach on the street, so to speak, is the big conundrum I'm trying to work out. And this has been really, really big in my thinking for the platform. And Laurel, I didn't know that Facebook had that functionality. I get nervous, like you said at the beginning, about people that host all your information and your content. So I'm still trying to figure that out. But so these things, the app side of it, and the mobile.
I wouldn't put the whole world up on the Facebook group, but definitely enough for them to go, wow, that's really helped me lift my game to the next level. And then build that learning pathway, so then they come off Facebook into the more exclusive area. And by the way, I have the same thing. I would say the majority of my clients are elite. They're directors of marketing, they're government media advisors. So they've got multiple degrees in public relations and communications and digital marketing. But then I'm now shifting into the virtual assistant / social media manager space, who's asking questions like, how do I get my first client? Which no director cares about. Like, I can't have those two groups on exactly the same space all the time, because they have very different requirements. I need to scale down what I'm like. When I do When I do a social media strategy for government, it takes 6 months and it's thousands and thousands of dollars because they have so many channels, so many departments. If you're a social media manager doing a strategy for a hairdressing salon, page and a half will do. You know what I'm saying? So I need to find a way of delivering that. And initially I was going to do it in the same course, and it's just not possible. So I've done an enterprise-based course, and I'm doing a entry-level based course. And they can still learn from each other in the forums, but I got to solve different problems. I got to solve the different problems.
So, Laura,
this is
Win,
really
what's
interesting.
This book you're talking about?
Scaling lean.
Sorry,
Win,
sorry,
what was
Laurel.
Scaling
It's
lean.
it's almost an inside
Scaling.
joke on this.
Scaling lean. Scaling
Oh.
lean. If
lean?
yes, Laurel, if you watch any of our streams, that's the book which is.
Why would I ever
highly...
watch any of you? Oh wait, I'm on one. Who's in it? Who wrote it?
I'm waiting for the
Lean,
movie.
Mastering the Key. Yeah.
A guy called Ash Moria.
Ash
Moria.
Moria.
His real
But-
name is Win. His pen name.
$89 for hardcover. You guys have pushed the price of that one up.
Tell you, man, we've been pumping it.
Yeah, the audiobook is. I mean, just get an audiobook on Audible. Like, I mean,
Oh, that reminds me. I'm just going to say this because it drives me bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. If I look like a crazy woman, this is the reason why. People in the adult education space say that it's not true that there are different learning styles. And I just want to say that's complete fiction. There are some people that are auditory. There are some people that are visual, and they would rather watch a video on how to do something than read it. And there are some people that are text-based, that they'll read the dot points. We call them the engineering psychographic. They, for God's sake, don't give me colorful infographics. I just want to see the dot points. And I had this battle with fairly key people in the education space. And then one day, Facebook released a report which said, we've been monitoring 2 billion people on Facebook and Instagram and social media, and we've discovered that people take in information in different ways.
Oh, surprise.
If you like videos, you get more videos in your feed. If you like text and links to articles in newspapers, you get more text in your feed. And I'm like, yes, I knew it. I'm right, they're wrong.
Yeah.
So if you create a course, Jason, one of the things that I often ask is this audience visual? Because if you give them video, it drives them bonkers. And I don't know about you guys, but if you've looked up how to do something on one of the lifetime deals, let's say VBOUT or something, and you had to watch a 20-minute video to try and find that one little section, which menu it's under, you just want to scream.
Needless to know, we're having this conversation yesterday, this exact conversation. It was like, especially if you're a high-level director, what do those guys want? They want the answer in 30 seconds. And I mean 30 seconds. I'm not kidding. They want that answer in less than a minute.
The executive summary, the TLDR. Yeah, absolutely. And then if I'm holding hands with somebody who's really scared, and usually they know how to do things, but they're terrified, then I know that I have to literally go through every single frame by frame, and then it's okay, nothing will happen yet, it'll be in draft mode, then you can click publish. Like they really want to know everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know who your audience is, Jason, but I'll tell you now, lawyers and accountants tend to be text focused. Academic researchers tend to be text focused. IT managers, engineers tend to be text focused. So if I'm doing an IT type of caller, one of the reasons I think AppSumo is interesting because they do have video intros, but I would say if they were to check eye scanning, a lot of people would scan the page first and read the text, because I think AppSumo has a text-based audience, and only watch the video when it comes to purchasing time, just to get a look and feel of what the interface is like. The rest of the
Yeah.
time, we're looking for the dot points. Am I right or am I right?
You're right, because
Yes,
I check the TLDR section. I just go brrp, next.
Laura, I think that's really interesting about the learning styles. I'm with you. I think they exist. I used to me and my best friend lived together. He was a coach at the club that I work for. So we would deliver sessions, then we would drive home in our separate cars, and he would ring me up and talk about the session. And I'll be like, I don't understand what you're talking about. I've got no idea. We'd get home, we'd get the tactics board out, and we'd start drawing it. And I'm like, this makes perfect sense to me. So yeah, the learning styles I think do exist. And then the interesting conundrum for me with
one
that
of the things,
is
one of the things I need to check with SPAE is I don't remember, but I think they might have video lecture and then another one is a text lecture.
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas
yeah.
I want both. And this is what I sort of do. I have the video there at the top for people because 82% of the population are video focused anyway. They've been trained by TV, so they just go for the video. But then immediately underneath, I have the executive summary, then the dot points. And then I go into the more what we call story time. You know, when I do this, this is what I experienced, and Elizabeth tried it, and she got something. You know, like all that sort of strategy-based stuff. So I put, case study-based stuff. I put that underneath, but I want to have both there because people also change their mood. Like sometimes they want a recipe and they just want the ingredients and the cooking, and then other times they actually want to watch the recipe being made, so they'll watch a video on it. So.
You know what I
think,
know what I think
does SPAE have both?
Excuse me, guys. I gotta run, so
Hey,
we'll jump on next time.
no, Joe.
I have to run. Yeah, I've been over an hour, so I gotta. I'll listen though. Don't worry, I'll be back. Thanks.
No.
Thanks
We want to give you. I want.
No, it's okay. I actually have to run right now. So.
Oh, okay.
Bed.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
See you, Joe. Okay. Bye.
See you, Joe.
Meme King, he's gone.
He's not usually that quiet. Is it me? Was I talking too much? I'm so sorry. I'm not too sure how this works. So,
like if you did video and memes and stuff like that, Joe would be slaughtering us. He'd be like owning it.
What's interesting as well, to give Joe a bit of spotlight, is Joe and Nilesh spoke on Friday about the evolution of LTDs, and one product's out and then the next one comes out and they're learning from the previous product. What you said, Laurel, about what would we all say is our preferential kind of features and stuff like that. This is an opportunity for one of the developers out there to say, how do we evolve the LMS product?
Can I just jump in there? Can I just say something?
Yeah, go on, Win. Yeah, definitely.
So there's this tool on AppSumo called Traverse Link.
Yeah.
Because I'm big on the whole NLP learning modes too, Laurel. We've had this discussion a few times, and we're all kind of curious about it. One thing I think that's missing out of education in general, and it comes back to what you were saying, is people change their moods based on how much information they want at a particular time. So in the first instance, I think that most things are fractal, meaning that let's put it in the instance of learning. You go, okay, in the first pass, I just want to know if I'm interested. I'll do a scan, and I don't want to watch a video that's literally 20 minutes long. I want to be able to make the decision by speed reading that page in 10 seconds. Once I've convinced myself that I'm at least interested in that thing, then I'm going to stop, and now I'm going to do a more fuller scan of that page in text. Then if I'm really interested, then I'll click on the play button. And I think that kind of modality is really, or not modality, I think that mechanism is really missing out of education in general, where you can engage in the content on various levels. And I created a productivity course once that spanned 6 weeks. It's full on, man. It's full on. It's a full on course, covering all sorts of stuff. But what I realized was, one of the feedbacks was, my brother said to me, he goes, I love your course, but he goes, I'm 3 weeks in and I still haven't figured out how to be productive. Anyway, so I turned around and made that 3-week course into 1 hour. I kid you not, 1 hour. And it was like an epiphany to some people because they'd never heard of some of this stuff. But because they heard the 1 hour thing, they were more prepared to now go into deeper levels on the different things, you know. And I feel as though, sorry, Jason, you carry on, because I think this is a perfect segue to what you were just about to say. Back over to you.
And like, I was really interested in what you were saying then, Win. Now I've got to get my flow back. But I think it's interesting what you said earlier, Laurel, about the place you're at in terms of you've got to be something different for different people. So the ones that want Laurel directly, the ones that want to access your information, what product is there out there that enables you to do all these one-to-ones and small groups and all this stuff? I don't know if that exists yet. So the evolution of these software, these SaaS products is going to be fascinating in the next year or so, because seeing the feedback that we get in the community, getting events like this tonight, is gold for some people that, you know, so I think Consulto was something that a lot of people spoke about, and now they're talking about 11 Site and these things. And does this need to be migrated into an LMS product to enhance the ability of the instructor, the tutor, the learner, whoever it is, to be able to do everything in one place? So I'm fascinated with what the next process of LMSs are. I find that really interesting. And then just the other thing I was going to say as well is the challenge I'm having right now is, so Laurel, I'm putting myself out there in the public space on YouTube and podcast world and newsletter world. But what I'm doing is I'm attracting different demographics of audiences. So although I'm trying to really understand the volunteer parent coach, I'm getting a lot of kind of degree students that want my information, but they don't want it the same way that the volunteer parents want it. So it's I don't know the answer yet to that conundrum, but I'm thinking in time down that line of, well, you get Jason Blake in this way, you can have Jason Blake in that way, and you get Jason Blake in that way. I don't know the answer yet, but it's...
When I'm teaching online courses to students, how to do online courses, that one of the first things I do is I have them write the heading. And I can't remember what it is that I say. It's been quite a few months since I've done it, but it's something along the lines of attribute. Like the title has to be attribute, modifier, audience. So the attribute is knitting, and then the modifier is beginners, and then that's the beginners knitting. And then the audience is for children, or it could be something like cooking, French cooking for professionals. And so when I write my courses up, and the reason I have 60 courses, and a lot of it is repeating similar information. I don't actually put up the same video, but it's similar information. But I picture that in my mind. So if I'm teaching, for instance, Facebook, I might say Facebook ads for beginners, and then I might do Facebook ads for hairdressers, and then Facebook ads for politicians, and then Facebook ads for schools. Do you see what I'm saying? And even though often the content is the same, the examples that I use are different, obviously, and the images that I use are different. But often I'm reiterating the same thing. In fact, I have, if you look on my YouTube channel, I have 3 series. I have, I think, social media for colleges, like how colleges could do social media. I have a series on social media for ambassadors, embassies, and consulates. And I have another one, I forget what it is, but you would never really want to watch more than 3 series, I don't think. Although people say they do and they pick up little tips each time, but I'm kind of saying the same stuff. But you know what it's like? People have to hear things 10 or 11 times anyway, so they might as well hear it with different examples each time. But that's how you get lots of courses, because those modifiers mean, and I use colorful Post-it notes on a wall. I'm really high tech. And yes, I know I could use Notion, Nilesh.
Yeah.
Nilesh is trying to get me to use Notion.
Don't mention Notion.
Notion's a bad thing.
Hey, but
I've got Start Infinity as well.
But the code which the code which we used for Notion survived. You still have the credits, right?
I still have the
does it work?
credits. I did get smacked by Kate or Karen or whatever her name is. She sent me a passive aggressive email about how naughty I was, and this was really only for startups. And I thought, well, that's it. The credits are gone, but they're still there. So I don't know. I've had my account though since 2019.
Isn't that ironic that you got a note from Karen?
Yeah, I have had my account for a long time too, and I think that's why I just let it be.
I'm sorry.
They let it go, and they sort of knew that I wasn't going to upgrade anytime soon, and they also know I hardly use it. But if I use physical Post-it notes, and I'm actually a big believer in getting away from.
Yeah,
I like organization tools, but I like to get away and go and have a coffee and sit outside with a book and write down things. But Post-it notes, what I discovered was I would use basic stuff. And if this is too basic, just tell me. But I would use a yellow note Post-it pad, and I would put Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and then I'd have analytics, content creation, ads, and something else. Or, and then I would get a blue Post-it note and I would put down beginner, intermediate, advanced, special interest, which is the political category of whenever you do anything on any social media platform, you have to identify a special interest. And then there's the YMYL group, the Your Money, Your Life, which is treated differently by algorithms than the normal content. And I don't know, then I would put them up on a board, and then I would do introduction and case study, strategy, and I would write all those down in a different color Post-it note. And I ended up with this big wall of Post-it notes. But I knew that I could then put hairdressing at the top and run series of videos, lectures for hairdressing. And then I could put accountants at the top and then use the same framework for accountants and social media.
That's
really
so clever.
That's what all my courses are on. But I like Post-it notes, and they're pretty colorful.
Have you heard of a platform called Teachery?
Yes. In fact, I was looking at it again the other day. I'm quite nosy. If I come across a free course or even a course that I want to do and I'm willing to pay for, the first thing I do is I go into the developer area and check which framework they're running on. And I found quite a few of them lately have been on, it's teachery.co, isn't it? It's .co on the end.
Teachery.co. And I was actually talking to Anna, who is also a member of our community, and she's developing her course on Teachery. So I want to get her on one of the live streams because she is she's her choosing Teachery makes me want to look at the platform because she's so hyper organized in terms.
She's got a great thought process. She's fascinating. Yeah.
Yes.
Who was that? Sorry.
It's Anna Fitzgerald. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's in our community. She is going to be on our live stream, hopefully soon. I'm not sure if she is tuned in today, but so she's looking. She's working. So she's actually, I was looking at the couple who developed it, and they have a website called Wandering Aimfully, and
oh yes, yeah,
and then she bought it when it was a lifetime deal kind of thing where you pay anything they develop in future is yours. So they developed this platform, Teachery. And I'm looking.
One of the issues I had with it was navigation, but it's an issue with all of them. Yes. It doesn't have a good navigation. So, and this is what I mean by having a taxonomic versus a folksonomic structure. Because if I'm in the middle of a module, I want to be able to maybe go back and check another module instead of having to go all the way back to the home screen and find the information. The other one with Teachery, I've not seen any with any community features. So it's great if you're doing passive consumption, but pedagogically, people learn better from their peers. Even you lot. I even learn more from you lot.
Yes.
And I always say to my students who don't want to do team exercises, I hate team exercises. Why do we have to do team exercises? Is you will learn better from the questions that everybody's asking and answering in the group than you will
Yep.
from listening to me all day.
Yeah,
So you might
yeah,
as
you
well
agree.
suck it up.
How can
So
you bake that into a course? Or
sorry?
how can you bake that idea into a platform? How would you, like, ideating out loud, how would you, you got all these LMSs, you've
Yeah,
seen
and
them all.
I've fought this battle for many years. I don't like Teachable because it's like YouTube. There's a video with comments underneath, and then it's impossible to find stuff in the comments, and
Yes.
there's no cross relation with anything else.
Right.
There was an implementation of, it was Mighty Hosts or Mighty Networks or something, where you added the plugin in, and then when people left a comment, it went into a centralized forum, into a sub forum,
Yes.
so people could
Yep.
actually scan everything. I thought that was really clever, and then it stopped working, or it wouldn't work with Teachable. And then I was trying to get the API. I went to the Mighty Networks person who does the APIs, and they said Teachable just won't allow it.
Wow.
I think Spay has it. And I'm sorry, I've only just bought Spay, so I haven't investigated it. But I really want, when people are following a lecture, they've got a question, that they write the question, but then it goes into the central feed so everybody sees the question. And that way I don't have to answer them all, because I'm pretty lazy. And plus, it's better off that they show off their knowledge than I just come in and say the same thing over again 10,000 times
Yeah.
a day. So
Yeah.
that's what I would like, that sort of matrix folksonomic structure rather than a strict category taxonomic structure.
Gotcha.
Hey, so Jason, I know you were looking at Streampal, which is on, and they've converted that 1-year deal into a lifetime deal to monetize the video content, right? Like, have you looked at it compared, because you looked at both Mastera and then right? And I believe their model is they charge you a certain fee based on your sales.
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 5% of a single payment product and 50 cents on a reoccurring payment. But the thing that counterbalances that is they've got full storage and bandwidth included. So you wouldn't need to host your videos externally for their system. So how that would equate financially, if you're using a Vimeo against their platform and the costs of their single payment or reoccurring fees, as a startup, I've got no idea what that would be for me. Ask me again in a year and I might be able to give you some insight. But it looks like
one
a
of the
clean
reasons
platform.
I bought Vadu was for that. And I always want to have, when I upload my video directly into the course, I always want to upload it to a hosted site like Vadu, just so that if something happens to the course site, I can switch everybody across to a playlist on Vadu. Done.
Yeah, that's what I do too. I do it on pCloud. Do the same thing. I want
pCloud.
It's out again. It's out again. It's on AppSumo for $120, by the way.
It's like for 500 megabytes or something ridiculous.
Gigabytes, yeah. But I mean, just wait for Black Friday. You're gonna get like all sorts of good deals on pCloud, right? I mean,
excuse me, that's like 2 months away. What am I supposed to do for 2 months? I want it now.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I just say something about technology? And this might seem really random with the LMSs, right? One thing that I always ask, like when Neelish and I are interviewing a founder on a product, one thing I always ask, and people might think it's a little bit weird and it may seem unrelated, but I always ask, what is the technology stack? What is your thing built on, right? And the reason I ask that is because I want to know how quickly they can evolve the product once they get the feedback. And some frameworks are a lot harder to iterate on than others. And I tell you, the frameworks that I have seen have been the very fastest to iterate on Whenever a founder says, oh, we're developing on React Native or React JavaScript or React JS, I know straight away that you're dealing with a development team that can turn around and do a development in literally 2 hours. Boom, it's out. Boom, it's out. Boom, it's out. As soon as they say PHP is the backend, I know, oh God, here we go. It's going to take you a month to do the most basic things. I know that. Pay attention to this one tip. Ask people what their framework is based on. If it's on PHP, I'm telling you, it's the slowest framework for developing on. And so when it comes to the conversations that we're having tonight about, which LMS am I going to get, whether it's Spey or Heights or Arcadal or Mastera or whatever, pay attention, because the ones that are developed on React are the ones that are going to evolve the quickest. Sorry.
I did some digging into Mastera, and they use the Be Free editor. Do you know BEE Free? And so I went into Be Free and looked, and then was wondering why certain things on Be Free hadn't been implemented in Mastera, like a proper editor suite, But I agree. And we've already seen in the last couple of weeks things that have fallen over or broken, and they're having trouble fixing them. And often it's because they just they weren't scaling, they weren't set up for scaling, or they, I don't know, didn't know how to bootstrap the whole thing anyway. So I agree completely. What's their tech stack?
It's a painful lesson. I've spent literally, I've developed apps, put it that way, and I've done it the wrong way. I've done it the wrong way a number of times, and so I know how to do it the wrong way. And that's how you do it. So,
do you know what's interesting?
I feel the same way about online courses, because I pretty well started with Udemy, and then I'm there for a few years, and I'm driving all my clients there, and then I switched to Teachable, and then I drove all my clients there for a few years, and then I moved them to New Zenla, and I feel like I've got to tell them soon that they're moving again, that I'm evicting them and they have to come with me somewhere else. I'm like, I just don't want to upset them again. And then they'll yell at me, and then I'll be like, but in 13 years, I've moved you 3 times. Like, give me a break,
That's right.
Do you know what's interesting with that, Laurel?
All the mistakes.
For someone like myself who's at the beginning of the journey, and I spend a lot of time researching and listening to what people say, do you know, with this one, when it comes to LMS, there's never been a consistent, that's the one you go for. Whereas if you talk about different products in different spaces, you get the same name come up most of the time. With this one, with everyone I spoke to, the forums, the research, there's not a number one that people recommend. There's not, normally you get, well, that's the one, but that's number 2, and think about that one third. This one there's no pattern from any of my research.
There is, but you have to know the audiences. So as an example, something that drives me bonkers is that bonkers thing is that all the platforms, like 3/4 or 4/5 of their online course is how to market your online course, which is not the bit that I need. I know how to do marketing. I've taught marketing. Like, I just want to know how to technically set up the course so that it is the best experience for my students. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why my funnel doesn't stop at the course is because the next step in the funnel is I want those students to have such a fantastic experience. And they do. They write things like, I had 2,000 times the engagement after I did this course on Facebook. Wow. Or whatever it is.
That's crazy.
And I want them to go out and tell people that, so that they also have a great experience. And that's one of the things that drives me crazy, is that I think everything stops at the landing pages. Like with a lot of these sort of services, they're talking to audiences that are solopreneurs who want to make passive income. It's never passive, but whatever. They want to make a passive income, and they want to do it cheaply, and they just want people to sign up, and when they've got their money, they're done. And I'm not that person. In fact, it upsets me when I go online and I see oh, 35 students are studying right now. Your course is online. I'm like, they don't need me. They're just quietly doing the videos. Why don't they need me? So, the passive side is not of interest to me. I want to be in front of them. But I do think that if you find a platform, if it's for a complete beginner, it's going to be Udemy, because wow, there's somebody with a marketplace and they'll sell the course. They don't understand what goes into it. They'll sell the courses for me. It's like people who open up a store on Etsy. Oh, Etsy will sell my crafts for me. No, they won't. But anyway, go for it. You'll learn a lot just by doing the basic course there.
Yeah.
Then you've got the solopreneur. But I also work with universities, and we're using Canvas Edu. So that's a completely different kettle of fish. It has a lot more of the scoring and exams and feedback, and you can't give feedback on Teachery or Teachable. Not you can send them an email, but that's not built into the system. So I think when you're asking the person which one they like, ask them why they like it. And if they say it's so I can shove a dozen videos up, take payments, and then never have to think about it again, that's not going to suit me, but it might suit somebody else.
So there's a question here, Laurel, and I think you might be able to answer it. Evans is asking, is anyone familiar with Escolab?
Easy Collab? Yeah, I've got it.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I picked up a lifetime deal the other day. Look, it's beta at best, I would say.
Yeah.
And it looks like it has potential. I think it looks like it has potential. Let me just put this in. And I'll show you what I mean. I can't log in. They always do this. There we go.
Okay, 1 second. Let me. Oh, Laurel, you might want to share. Okay, all right. Let me see if I can bring you on a bigger scene here. Okay.
Oh, do you want me to share through eCam rather than?
No. That's fine. Just stay there. And let me see if what I can do.
Here. Unless you just tell me what to do and I will obey. Okay. If you want me to come back to the headshot and then use the online share screen, I can. Do you want me to do that?
No. 1 second. You can go ahead and share your screen.
Do you want me to use the eCam share?
No. Whatever you had earlier.
Okay.
Just go ahead.
Okay. This one.
1 second. There we go.
I like this one because I can put myself in the bottom, but you know what I look like. This is the sort of thing, I don't know if you can tell up the top left, but I can't actually read this stuff and the logos are all broken. So, and I think it's because it's in some kind of a night mode, but I have not found the menu which says turn it back to day mode. So this is what I mean by it's like, it's not ready. It's not like Spay where you can just go in and start creating stuff straight away. To me, this is all much of a muchness. Every single LMS looks like this. One thing that drives me crazy, another one that drives me bonkers. I tell you, I must be pretty crazy by now. This is better. I like the posts and analytics because almost every other dashboard takes me into the money. And then it takes me into the daily money, and it's extremely rare for me to make daily money on my courses because they start at about $900. So I'm going to be a monthly, or I'm going to be invoicing and not even using the platform to take money. So there's a lot of things I would like on the homepage of any LMS. And definitely the ability to add my own widgets. Like I'd like to see latest comments on here. None of them, not one, you've got comments and questions waiting for you. You have to go into submenus of submenus. But, I haven't set it up properly yet. They don't have any examples. I asked for a walkthrough or video and they didn't have one yet. So I think it's pretty early days for easy collab. But like always with lifetime deals, you pick it up in the hope that one day things will happen. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Often they don't.
Yes. So Lyle is asking, what was your thought on the major and minor aspect, Laurel? Jason, how's your course going? So 2 questions, and we'll come back to you, Kuram, because Kuram wants to know, he picked up Course Maker, but he's asking, do you recommend any LMS tool for creating coding videos? Ones that allow learners to use Sandbox for Python or SQL coding practice?
Yeah. That's a good question. No, I don't. But that would be really useful for coding courses. If you want to look at Toots Plus and see what they offer and see if you can figure out their tech stack.
WordPress,
You know Toots Plus? No, surely not.
Oh, Toots, hold on.
But yes, they're part of the Envato group.
Oh, okay.
Envato bought them because they were all coding. Wasn't Toots Plus all coding courses?
Oh, I see. Yeah. Sorry, I got the wrong one. Yeah, you're right.
And Lyle has a follow-up question for you, Laura. What was your thought on the major and minor aspect?
I don't understand it yet.
Okay.
Can I say that?
Yeah, of course. You can say anything.
I saw it on their marketing and I went, that's either marketing spin or it's something I haven't come across yet. Lyle, if you can explain what it is, then I'll pretend that I knew all along. All right? Oh, yeah. What's Arcadal like? Did anybody look at Arcadal?
Joe, ask Joe.
I looked and passed.
Joe, what do you reckon, Joe? Joe's in our audience.
When did you like it?
Yes, Joe, do you want to come back? Joe, if you want to come back, just let me know. Just dial in.
Joe's there. He's on the comments.
But
Joe,
Joe,
what do you think about Arcadal?
Isn't Favicon going to come? Isn't the Favicon going to come in? Started filming this week and now deep in editing. Approve the iOS app. Yeah. Okay. You like Arcadal? I figure with SPAY, things like Favicon will happen. I mean, one of the things with SPAY is when my students sign up, it lists about 2,000 suburbs in India, and then it has other at the bottom. And I'm like, I need to wait for them to clean that up, because people will wonder if they're in Sydney doing a course with a Sydney person why they're being offered suburbs in India.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pamela, she's saying no one big winner in LMS because everyone's goals and audience needs are different.
I think so.
No one's done that great job, to be honest.
What about Thinkific? Do you use that, Laurel?
You already said we were talking about it.
I did, but they had a thing like that I don't like, which is it was either a video lecture or a text lecture, and I actually want something that looks more like a blog post with images embedded and text and blocks that I can drag across type of thing. But I haven't looked at them for a while, so I'm not 100% sure. I know that the big brands, massive brands that run online courses, I know the LMSs that they use. So, for instance, Facebook has their own, people don't know this. I mean, talk about competitors. Facebook's a competitor. They offer free courses on how to do Facebook. And they're using an LMS called Blueprint. Is it Blueprint? Yeah, it is Blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to Google Facebook Blueprint, you would come up with their online courses, and they've got certification and things like that. Google has Garage. Yeah. The New York Times has online courses. They're using Teachable.
Okay.
Hootsuite, I think, uses Thinkific.
Hey, what do you think of
remember,
that
though,
Hootsuite social academy, all the training? What do you think about that? Are those really good courses? I know you offer
not as
similar.
good as mine.
Yes. That's my question.
Okay, so one of the things when I send people to the Facebook course, especially if they want more information on Business Manager, and I'm usually, and they may want like very technical menu walkthrough type things, which may not be a good use of their time with me. So I'll say to them, before next week's course, go do Facebook's Business Manager course, and then we'll talk about it in our sessions. But Facebook is there to sell ads. So they're never going to talk about proper optimization, like how the last actor 50 data set works, or how the MAU and the DAU works, and how those Facebook calls them story types. If a page is denoted to be primarily videos with a video audience, don't bother putting up a text post. It just won't be seen. They'll just drop it out of the news feed. So they don't teach you that stuff, because if you learn how to optimize without paying, then you won't pay. With Hootsuite, it's a bit hit and miss. And it's that difference between a technical course and a strategic course. So how to schedule a post, and then they put in lorem ipsum, and then they hit schedule is great. But a strategic course would say to you, if you're targeting mums, busy mums, about soccer on the weekends, don't post up on Monday mornings. Monday morning, mums are trying to get kids ready for school. They're not thinking about the weekend. They're trying to find what the kids have done with their shoes. They're trying to get the lunches done. It's a waste of time to post up at 7 a.m. on a Monday morning. So don't schedule for then. See the difference between strategic and a technical course? A lorem ipsum course?
Yes.
You know what I mean by lorem ipsum, right?
Yes.
It's when they just copy and paste in crap. I would rather that there's to me that you can always go that step further and solve the actual problem in the course, not the technical problem.
Yeah.
And so I know when people are looking up how to schedule posts, that they're not asking how to schedule posts. They're asking, why should I schedule posts? What post should I schedule? When should I post? When should I schedule them for? And then they want to know how to actually add it in. So I show them quickly how to do it, and then I go into the strategic part. People can leave or they can stay. And I would say, like, I was thinking about the soccer. I've got a friend of mine who ran a massive online soccer community for mums and dads, and they noticed that about 80% of their discussions was the secondary stuff that there is no solution for. So one of them was in geo-based, they geo-tagged their soccer groups and their sports groups. Parents would ask, does anybody have a soccer uniform or netball uniform, whatever, that would fit a year 11 or a year 5 because our year 4 has grown out of her year 4 uniform and she needs a year 5. And then parents would trade and swap. So they set up a whole separate section of their community that was just for swapping uniforms. And it kept people engaged because it was another reason to come back, another reason to get a problem solved. So you think you're solving one problem, but there's usually all these other problems that need to be solved as well.
Right.
Yes.
And
that's right.
Just to come back to Jason's point, I think no LMS solves all the problems, but another thing that's really limiting is people don't understand the power of their community. So, Jason, let me give you an example. If you were to sign up every soccer coach around the world, but let's stick with, say, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and America. If you had every one of those volunteers and they were fully engaged, you are now an industry organization and you have lobbying rights with government and ministries of sports around the world. And I don't think people understand that power. So what I look for in a solution, and it's not there yet, trust me, Apricot might be the closest. but I want a directory service so that every coach can list themselves and whether they're looking for coaching roles or what their bio is. They need to have industry training, like an industry organization would offer them, really good quality, maybe peer-to-peer training where other coaches can load up. This is what I discovered this week. This is what I found has worked. And there needs to be a lobbying aspect as well so that you can ask, survey, and go into the community. Because like for me, with 11,000 social media managers in Australia, I can head into government and say, you know, that thing you're planning on doing where you're going to limit what we can post on our Facebook pages? I've got 11,000 managers here that want to tell you to stop that right now. And they go, well, we didn't know about you. And I'm like, well, you do now. So there's a quite a powerful element to having a fully engaged community. And unless you know this, if there's somebody a bit dodgy, a founder that's a bit dodgy, how fast does it go through your community of 11,000 members that such and such is a bit dodgy? Like, there's power in the group, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
so be good, don't rip people off.
Yes, absolutely.
Don't get away with it for long.
I can't just dish out some codes. Is that what you're saying?
and then run off.
Yeah.
But if they try to sort of bring in regulations around coaching, you get to step up and say no. Yes, no, we need a seat at the table on this. If you're going to regulate this or bring in, I don't know what kind of regulations. There's probably standard ones already where you have to be, in Australia we call it blue carding. You have to be cleared by police to work with children.
Yeah.
But you at least want to have a say in those kind of changes to regulations. So I think there's another kind of website that could be built which is really suitable for industry organizations. Oh, and the other one is jobs boards. So I've never seen an LMS that has a jobs board. So even though I'm teaching social media managers how to get their first job, how to write proposals, how to get paid on time, how much should they charge, and all that kind of stuff, I would have to look for another solution to offer a jobs board to those members, which is something that they want, is a directory service. And then I have the flip side where I have courses, how to hire a social media manager, what a social media manager could do for your business, how to set up a contract with a social media manager. So I actually have that peer-to-peer marketplace kind of thing. People looking to hire social media managers and people who are social media managers, but I don't have a framework that also offers a directory job service where somebody could say, I'm looking for a social media manager to post on Instagram 3 times a week, and I would like a clip of that, Sal. Thank you very much. So there's something. What I want basically is the whole world. My wish list is like this long. But you only learn those things by a while.
Those services are all out there, but my issue with them is that they don't all clip nicely together. They don't all, like a piece of Lego, they don't plug into each other. When you're building a structure, you want to start with a solid foundation, and then you want to be able to clip things on it in a nice, clean fashion and have it all talk to each other and all work nicely together. And there's nothing out there like that. And I often think that businesses that make their platform plug and play, as an example of this, is Shopify. Look at that business. It's worth billions of dollars. And one of the things that drives it is the value added by a marketplace that people can create plugins like WordPress, but a lot more tidier than WordPress, that people can plug those things in, and it gives them the functionality that they're looking for straight away, and then they can just go ahead and make money with their e-commerce business, as an example. And I wish something like that was available for the LMS, for the teaching space, and Mastera is trying to do that.
Or online community space, but yeah.
Or online community.
And it doesn't have to all be there on day one. It can be iterative. It can be agile. Maybe I don't want to roll everything out on my Shopify on day one, but over the years I will gradually add more. So yeah, I agree. And that's what a framework is, isn't it? It's that ability to add mini apps to everything.
Right.
I did have a chat with sorry?
I was just going to say what they
few-
call what that approach that they call that is called API first. So if you make your system
Yeah.
API first driven, then suddenly it can do everything that you and I we're asking for of these systems, and yet like they're so rigid at the moment. You can. It frustrates me. I'm listening to you speak, and I'm nodding my head vigorously, going, yes, yes, yes. I 100% agree with you. Sorry, carry on. What you're saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, I had a chat with the founder of freelance.com, Matt Barry, and I recommended to him that he allow us to white label freelance.com, because I knew I could take it into industry organizations and they could have their own freelancer website that is actually not freelancers, but for their industry. Does that make, like like a media organization or a graphic design organization or something? And then they would be able to offer jobs, and then the industry organization could share the clip of the sale with freelancer.com. If you don't know freelance, it's like Upwork. What's the new word?
Yes.
What's the new name for Upwork?
It is Upwork.
What was the old name for Upwork?
Elance.
It is Upwork.
Odesk.
Elance, that's it. It used to be Elance.
It was Odesk. Odesk.
Yeah. Odesk, that's right.
Odesk.
And it's almost, I always think that when you're building these frameworks, you need three things, because once you've solved the problem for your own company, you can solve it for everybody else. That's the point, right, of peer-to-peer, is that so one is, once you've solved the payment processing, you want to have that be able to be deployed out everywhere. So every industry organization, even the smallest ones, could basically be a spoke off of a hub of a freelance type site. And every time you upgrade the payment systems, it upgrades for everybody. We know that because we're in this industry. A lot of people don't. Another one is escrow. So that idea that the money goes up and then it holds and then it's released. And it was interesting to me because Facebook's early investor was Peter Thiel, and he was investing in a virtual currency called AceBucks, which would allow Facebook, and now I know they've got their own currency and their own version of Bitcoin and stuff coming out, but in the very early day, the idea was that Marketplace would eat eBay's lunch, because rather than going on eBay looking for something, you would see it coming through your feed, and you might go, I want to buy that bicycle for my kids, or I want to buy that camera. But then Facebook would take a clip of every sale like eBay does. So, I was really interested at how these API first bits and pieces came together. I thought Amazon was going to go there. The amount of money Amazon makes through their API versus direct is phenomenal. Like, it's like 99.99% of their money comes from the API.
Crazy.
I'm talking too much. I'm sorry. I will say,
Amazon
used to sell online courses through Amazon, and then they ditched it. So you could actually go in and have your online course listed on Amazon, and then you could get all of the affiliates to sell your online course through Amazon. And then Amazon went, no, we're not really in the business of online courses, and they ditched it. There's another one that drove me bonkers.
Why do you think they dropped it if they were profitable?
I don't know. I think digital, it's like Facebook won't allow you to sell online courses through their online store. You don't have to add Shopify to your Facebook page. You can use Commerce Manager and then link the API back. So you don't have to add the Shopify app to the Facebook F8 framework. You can just use Commerce Manager and create your own shop. But they won't allow digital products, and they won't allow online courses. But they will allow tickets for online events.
Okay.
Don't ask me. I just work there.
Laura, one question for
Crazy.
you. Like, there's like every time you're on YouTube, or everybody wants to sell something. They want to sell a course, right? I mean, there's people who spend so much money on YouTube advertising and Facebook advertising. They want to sell you something, or get through some sort of a lead generation, like some sort of a free training, and then they want to upsell you on a course, right? It's so much. I mean, it's overwhelming, right? So in some of them, I mean, like there's a whole lot of discussions going on. Are these even legitimate folks? Because they charge quite a bit of money, right? So like for somebody who just starting, what would your advice be? How would they differentiate from
All right. Well, this is what I was talking about with target audiences. So when I'm working with online course creators, there are people who have experience in their industry. They know it really well. So for instance, I've taught my courses for 10, 15 years in a classroom. And you get to learn things like pacing. Like I can tell immediately when half the class is doing this, I probably should shut up about now and give them an exercise. Like you learn pacing and you learn which parts are hard to understand, and it's not always the ones you think are going to be. So sometimes I'm working with people who are already experts, already know how to train, and they just need to migrate those things into something reasonable. The other lot will say to me, I've got 20 courses listed here, and it's from cooking to Bitcoin to how to take care of puppies to I don't know what. And they go, which one will make me the most money? I'm like, whichever one you choose, you're going to run into people who are passionate, generous, and bring their heart to what they do. And so the first thing I would say is find the one that you can bring your heart to, where you just know that if the doctor said to you, you've got 6 months to live, you're like, I need to pass on all this knowledge. Like I have this, if it's the last thing I do, I have to pass on this knowledge. Find that thing. Because that's a native teacher. That's a natural, generous teacher. Another one is I give away everything for free. I don't do so much today, but I used to blog once a day. I used to do everything for free. And people would say to me, I actually had a woman say, there's so much information on your website. It's so annoying. I don't have time to sit down and figure it all out. Can I just book some hours with you? Or, like you want people at that stage where they're used to you, know you, and if they're going to do a course, they're going to do it with you. And so I'm big on generous. And if people say to me, I can't afford a course at the moment, I'm like, don't worry about it. Just go and sift your way through my YouTube channel. You'll find lots there. Come back to me when you have got a budget. You know what I mean? Like I'm not going to compete with those people that keep boosting crap into people's timeline. In fact, it's extremely rare for me to mention anything that I sell because I'm about, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out when the day you run into trouble or the day you're thinking I need to sit down and spend a week and really get my social media game up. Then you're going to start going, oh, Laurel, how can I work with her? What does she do? I don't like using the word passion because I think there's a lot of people that are passionate out there and unable to communicate in a clear way. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what you mean. They might be passionate, but they may not be very good teachers, or they may not even know their subject matter very well.
And they may not be able to walk in somebody else's shoes. So I'm all about knowledge transfer. In fact, and Jason, you might be in this position too. You almost feel as though I know the answers. Give me your questions. Like, I need more questions. Give me your questions. Give me something interesting so I can come back to you and go, yeah, that was good. That was interesting. Let me give you an answer. You know what I'm saying? Like when you reach that level of knowledge and you're looking to do knowledge transfer, I'm not against, I think it's called the Feynman Method, which is you learn something by teaching it.
Oh, is that Richard Feynman?
Yep.
Sorry?
Right. Is that Richard Feynman?
Feynman, yes. Yeah. And so I might start planning in my head how to do a course on how to use SPAE, even though I haven't used it yet. But there's a few things I trust. One is I've used enough LMS that I know how to structure it pretty quickly in my head, how to walk people through it. And secondly, it's a bit of a voyage of discovery. So I can be excited when I explain to people, wow, this is what this is and this is what that is. So that's always useful. There's only a certain number of times you can teach Facebook ads before you want to, I don't know, run away to a desert island.
Yeah.
But I like learning new things. So I do think I don't begrudge people teaching things that they're learning. But I do think there's a lot of people out there who are trying to teach things that they have no real idea how to structure it or knowledge transfer or audience retention or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few, right? Like, I mean, and one other thing, like, there is a whole trend on with like Instagram, and it's like, hey, I have like 500,000 followers, and I was able to get them, and I'm now going to show you how to, and then a lot of people would be like, what has translated for somebody might not actually work the same way.
And I'm
for
the
you.
opposite.
Yeah.
People were like, I looked at your Instagram and you've got, I don't know what I've got, 400 followers or 500 followers or something. Yeah. And you've only done 10 posts, and most of them are of a pavlova that you made. So I made a pavlova cake. And they're like, why should I learn Instagram from you? And I'm like, because I do it for my clients, not just for myself. Exactly. And because people don't go to her. She doesn't use Instagram herself. I'm like, wait a minute. I did the Instagram campaign for Les Miserables. I did the Instagram campaign for some of the big politicians. Yeah. Why would you hire someone who can do it for themselves but nobody else, and then diss me because I do it for other people and I don't bother with doing it for myself?
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't hire, and this comes up a lot in online courses. So if anybody's watching or listening at the moment, it's because you're interested in having an online course. People will say things like, oh, what about your competitor? They're cheaper, or they're more successful, they're this or they're that, and they do it for themselves. And I'm a big believer in things like, I don't hire a brain surgeon because they were able to do brain surgery on themselves. It's because they do brain surgery on other people, and then those people live. And I would choose that brain surgeon. So, if even if I don't do Instagram myself, because I'm not a visual person, I'm a text-based person.
Yes.
I'm able to translate that for clients. And so I would always look and ask them for their client portfolio, and I would look. One of the problems with reviews have been spoiled, haven't they? Because of, like, with AppSumo, you give us a review and we'll give you X, Y, Z.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And are people being honest in those reviews, or are they just like, I don't care, I just want X, Y, Z?
Yeah, reviews have been completely, gone that route. And unfortunately, like, there's nothing we can do about it too, because AppSumo has certain policy. Of course, developers want to. If you look at all the sites and have think from everyone else's perspective, from the developer, from an AppSumo perspective, they want sales, right, at the end of the day, and taking help of affiliates to boost that, right? Like, there's nothing we can do. We do like streams and try to understand the founder, and yes, but founders also want to do giveaways, right? And they want to have a review on Captura, and we just not able to say, like, it's like we have to give something back, kind of thing. But yeah, you have to really understand the platform and not just do the test it based on reviews.
But it's like we were talking about in our last session, Nilesh, where yes. I'm on the Forbes top social media person list, and yes, I'm on the most powerful women on Twitter list. And one thing that I learned very quickly is when I ended up on one list, the people who are curating the next list, they literally Google list of social media. They're Googling for lists, top lists, and then they're curating their own list off of those top lists. So once you're on one, you're on all of them pretty well. Mm-hmm. And that the general audience doesn't understand that game. So when I'm introduced to clients, that's how they'll introduce me, as somebody who's on the Forbes magazine, blah, blah list. And to me, it's the same with the New York Times bestseller list. It's possible to gamify that list. And the Amazon bestseller lists, you probably know this as well. In fact, a friend of mine famously broke the Amazon algorithm because he told everybody, if you want to buy my book, I've got some coupons and stuff for you, but you're not allowed to buy it except between 10 p.m. and 12 p.m. specific Saturday night, because it would back end everything at the last minute. And then it would bring the algorithm to see his book as being the top seller because they all bought it within a 2-hour window, which was the window that Amazon was looking at the time. And I just thought, people learn how to gamify. They know how to gamify trust. They know how to gamify authority. They know how to gamify all the kind of leaderboards we have in life, whether that leaderboard is a bestseller list or a review list or whatever. We're very naughty. We are very naughty.
Yeah. And it's like, on AppSumo as well, it's just like the same people putting on the reviews, and it's really hard. It's really, really hard these days to understand like what's a good app and who has an agenda actually just behind pushing it, right? And
do you think that that's why influencers are so important? Because I've been looking at influencers, and I recognize that influencers are today's journalists and editors. So in the past, a journalist or editor would review something or look at something and give you the pros and cons, and it'll be in a magazine, a tech magazine or camera magazine or software magazine, PC World, and you'd be like, oh, okay, they rated everything and they've done that for me. And now today, I think it's influencers. Whether we're good at judging the influencer and then later on we find out it was all secret sponsorship deals and we feel so disappointed, or whether if it's Win or Jenny or Joe recommending something, I'm going to be more likely to give them authority and trustworthiness than I would somebody who joined the group a minute ago and seems to be best friends with the founder of that product. Like we do a bit of due diligence. We're like,
it has happened. It has happened.
Tell us. We need more drama, Nilesh. Come on.
We have had somebody who joined and they're like, hey, how is this tool? And then somebody else had joined and they're like, oh, this tool is great. Awesome. And then the founder had joins, and then they're like, hey, it's interesting because you all three seem to know each other, and you're talking about the same tool, and you seem to be like,
you were joined within 3 minutes of each other.
I mean, just not like dumb people here just looking at this and is like, oh wow, how great is this? Oh, thank you, let's go and buy it, right? This happens all the time. Yeah, I mean, for sure, where people try to fake
and
it,
especially
right?
with your group, I mean, they're pretty savvy. I'm in a number of other groups, like social media beginners groups and things, and I'm like, wow, you fell for that. Although I must say, I ended up searching through the group for O'Hara because I saw a reference and I wondered who this O'Hara person was. And then I saw, there's secondary accounts and third accounts. And that's not uncommon, that sort of catfishing. Yes. I don't know if it's really catfishing, but it sort of is fake accounts or whatever. Oh, I know what it's called. AstroTurfing.
Sock puppets.
So, sock puppets. And in Australia, AstroTurfing is now against the law. You're not allowed to have an agency or anyone on your behalf that you pay or have other agreements with come in and give positive reviews. But our regulatory, both for FTC in America and also ACCC in Australia, says that if you allow positive reviews, you must allow negative reviews. Mm-hmm. And I find it interesting because if I leave a negative review on AppSumo, they don't allow it through. And then if I leave, no. So I've always had to do.
They don't. I mean, they don't allow it, and they work with AppSumo is a little bit different. I mean, in terms of the way they work with affiliates as well to push some of the product, right? I mean, There is no like disclaimer notices on some of the reviews, and it's just different.
But it's against regulatory affairs. I mean, I've been through FTC regulations, and they're very clear. If you allow positive reviews, you must allow negative reviews. I do something that is I'm sorry, this is a bit of a technical term, but I deliver a shit sandwich. So I say something positive about the product, then I get to the real thing that's annoying me, and then I just say, "Great product, guys," at the end. So if you ever see that on one of my reviews on AppSumo, I don't like that product. But I've had to deliver it with 2 positives and 1 negative so that people know about the negative. Otherwise, sorry about the technical term.
Oh, no, that's great. That's great. I think Jason has to drop off. Jason?
I've got to shoot, but I'm just going to finish by saying, Laurel, we use shit sandwiches all the time in coaching kids. They hate getting critique. So a shit sandwich is one of our key tools. So really appreciate being on, everybody. I've learned so much. I've got a whole page of notes next to me. Scaling Lean made it on there again, Win, so don't you and
burnt into everyone's brain.
I'll catch the rest of the show on the replay, but thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Nice seeing you.
Take care. Bye. Okay, let me shift to a different scene, and I'm going to change the names, but continue talking, guys. Let me get the names changed here. 1 second.
Ruhani. Hey, Ruhani.
Yes. 1 second. Let me get the names right.
What's a good time to post on YouTube? Lyle, YouTube's interesting because it's you usually need sound. So people need to be able to put their headphones on. So if your target audience is developers, it probably doesn't matter because they have their headphones on and nobody knows. But for me as a teacher in a classroom, I can't watch YouTube. I can quickly check Facebook and Twitter when the class is busy, but I wouldn't be able to play a YouTube video. So often weekends are better for YouTube as well. It depends on your audience. It really does.
Never thought about that.
I don't know if that answered your question, but I thought you can go into your YouTube analytics and check as well. Oh, you've got a little chat window. Oh, yeah, I like that Restream chat bubble.
Yeah.
I'm just shifting across to OneStream at the moment because they've got a unified inbox now. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. Have you used it much?
Yeah, a little bit. I had a lot of problems with Restream and I ended up having big fights with them. And can I just say, this drives me bonkers, and I know I've been saying that all day, but companies that put chat bubbles and then they want you to sit there for 20 minutes while they go away and come back and go away and come back. Crazy. Like, I want to be able to send a message to Restream late at night and get up in the morning and see what their solution is. I don't want to have to sit there while they serve 5 other people on chat. And that was one of the big things. They did not want to deal with me in any other way than through chat. So I ended up dealing with them on Twitter, and they had to, I've got like 55,000 followers or 60,000 followers on Twitter. So they had to step up pretty quick and actually, I don't need my answers straight away, but I don't need them to tell me to go on to chat and just sit there and wait for them to answer when they feel like it. And then because Periscope wasn't working, I'd already shifted across to Twitter Live, and they told me it was a Twitter problem. So I went in and I used exactly the same key on OneStream, BeLive, and Switchboard.live because I have backups of backups.
Yeah.
and all 3 of them worked, but Restream didn't, and they were still trying to tell me that it was Twitter's fault, not theirs. So I ended up tweeting Twitter, the developers at Twitter, the Twitter Live team, and CCing Restream on them, and then they Restream fixed it for me. But don't tell me that it's somebody else's problem when I can see it's your problem. That's so annoying. I'm not silly.
Yes, I mean, in Restream, I mean, is one of those companies where that's like, drives me to an entirely different conversation, but a little bit. With Restream, yes, it's a great product. Yes, it has a live studio. But you're locked in. I mean, they're not willing to do the 1080p full HD into the plan, and there is no way to actually upgrade just for a small fee either. And you have a lot of limitations. I mean, that's why you have to use it like with a software like OBS or Ecamm to get like a desired high resolution, right? I mean, some of the streams done on Restream, I mean, the resolution is so bad. Like, I mean, if you just use Restream, like, it's just like not that great. I mean, you can barely see anything being shared on their desktop.
And for what they charge, for what they do, I mean, if you think about it, they're basically Zapier for API, right?
Yes.
So they take the OBS and then you allocated a key, and then they pump that out and forward that on to 5 platforms at once. And there's free software you can download and run on your own server. I think we've already established that we don't like doing that. That's why we like lifetime deals.
Yeah. Yes.
But I don't think they're worth what they wanted. I looked the other day, and they'd increased my annual fee from $100 and something to $499.
Wow.
And I thought, well, I'd got it, and I knew that there was a bit of a discount when I got it, and there was we'll upgrade you to Pro and let you try it and all that. So I took it on, and I thought, there's no way I'm paying $500 US a year for this type of a tool. I don't pay that for my LMS. I don't pay that for my New Zenler. I'm not going to pay it for a company that says feed in, 5 feeds out. Yes, I know it's more sophisticated than that, but I've got Switchboard and I've got OneStream, so I'll give them a go instead.
Yes, and
I said I was going to complain a lot.
Yes, and the other thing is with Ecamm Live as well. If I have it connected directly to Facebook or YouTube, the stream quality is even better versus using a multi-stream with Restream. If I'm just using directly streaming into Facebook or without Restream, the quality of the stream is so much better. I mean, I've seen it.
What plan are you on? Do you mind me asking? Because I'm pretty sure I'm on the Pro plan, and the quality is it's not bad.
For Restream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you on the lifetime deal, the basic lifetime deal?
Yes.
Or are you on a...
Yeah, I'm on the lifetime deal. And that's why I have to use it with I use it with Ecamm Live. I mean, just from the production value perspective as well, I get to, add my scenes and stuff like that. But, I mean, for the resolution as well, like if I'm using just Restream, like it would be terrible. The lifetime deal, the resolution is terrible.
Yeah. No, I know.
It just spoils the whole user
it's
experience.
Frustrating.
Nobody wants to watch your video if it's a lower resolution. I mean, you're producing a lot of content, and then if it's like, if it's not great, I mean, it will turn off people forever, kind of thing, right? So
yes, and that is an issue, because especially if people are watching something and then they get like lag, or they get blurry images, or they get funny sound, they don't come back. They don't have a good association with that. So I'm quite a big believer that first touch point needs to be awesome. And I don't think Restream comes from a place of really solving the problems that people have. And I felt, I said to them that I would say to them, everything on Restream said live. So Facebook Live, Twitter Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, they all say live. And then when I go back in later and check, only 3 out of 4 of them worked. And it's always different. It's a different one each time. And they would say to me, oh, you should test it first. And I'm like, I'm streaming at least twice a week, like Monday and Thursday. How do I test it? And they're like, well, you go live first and then you go live second. But if it can change within a day or two, it can change within 10 minutes. Like it can work on the test and not work on the next one. And then I said, if you give me a correct button and actually say no longer broadcasting or no longer working, like get some error messaging happening, I can turn that off and turn it back on again, and it will start to pick up and start to stream. But they weren't having that. Those kind of things I feel like are they cheap ass something that's not cheap. Like I would expect that from a low tier company, not from a premium tier company.
Yes. Yes, and they've done so well for themselves as a company. And I actually had a chat with them. And I mentioned to Restream, like, hey, you know what? Instead of, first of all, you have like powered by Restream. The second piece is like you're letting everybody stream with that LTD plan, like a really bad stream, bad resolution, right? And then you have powered by Restream on top of it, which shows like that the Restream quality is really bad. Like, can you not like give everybody an upgrade or give an option to stream at a better, and then then yes, maybe then you can proudly say that powered by Restream and it is really good quality. But you are,
because at the moment you're not selling anything to anyone. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
And if they put in an affiliate link, one of the things I do with my affiliate links is if I make money from the affiliate link, I upgrade my plan. And the way that I see it is it's paying for itself, So if I get 10 or 12 people, which I've done in the last, I think, year, who've picked up New Zenler, then I'm happy to pay for additional things on New Zenler because I'm kind of thinking, well, you've done the right thing by me and it's, it's paying its own way and whatever. But one thing I will say is if you write out a really good, not title, description, a long one, that powered by Restream vanishes. It's like, I don't know what the character count is, but it disappears. So I always make sure that I have a executive summary that like a Google can pick up, a meta description thing. And then I have who the audience is for underneath that. And then underneath that and then I copy and paste it in my bio, and then any affiliate links I want to link people to, partner links, and then how to contact me. So it's a really long description. It gets rid of the powered by Restream. Now, one of the things I liked about Switchboard, and with these things, it's like tick this box, X that box. So Switchboard didn't have, I don't know if it does now, unified inbox. So when you're streaming on all the platforms, you can't see all the comments on all the platforms. And I need to see the comments. I don't want to think that somebody's on Twitter responding or YouTube and writing a comment while I'm live and I don't see it. So I would definitely want to have a unified inbox. But Switchboard Live lets you save profiles. I forget what they're called. And it means that you can save templated description fields. So on Mondays, I was doing social media news. So I would talk about what happened in the last week, what Facebook was doing, Instagram was doing, new products coming out, all that kind of stuff. So I would create a profile called Social Media News at 11 with Laurel. And then I would say 11 a.m., every Monday, and then I would put in all the description and what's included. On Thursday, I did a lecture series, like a university lecture that was 50 minutes, and it was called Thursday Lectures, lunchtime lectures or something. So I would create another profile. You can't do this on Restream. I would create another profile on Switchboard Live.
Yes.
And I would just pre-write out that this is what I cover on Thursday lectures. And because I do them in a series, like the lecture series for embassies or the lecture series for colleges, then I would just leave that fairly standard. And I might go in later on and write a couple of lines in about what that exact lecture was about. But at least I had a saved template. Maybe it was called a template, not a profile. Who knows? You'll see it when you go in. So if I could sort of smash together OneStream and Restream's unified inbox, and I did look at the APIs to see if I could create my own inbox. I kind of suck at that stuff. What I do is I try and create it, and then I burst into tears, and I turn around to someone like Win, and I go, "Can you help me?" And then Win goes, "Sure." That's how it always works for me. But if I could have got those comment, the comment stream, get the comment streams and put them into a unified inbox, I would move across to Switchboard Live, because that template feed is so awesome. You could set up all your templates, Nilesh, and have your Friday one, and then your one-on-ones with founders, and then your panel discussion ones, and have them pre-set up.
Interesting. I'm going to check it out. You're giving me more work, Laurel.
Yeah.
I completely missed this lifetime deal.
I did get Video Link though, so I'm really excited to check out Video Link, because Video Link.
Which one are you getting?
Video Link.
Is that any good?
What
does it do?
Video Link. It was on AppSumo. It is a streaming.
Yeah.
It's a streaming platform.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's like Restream.
It's like Restream, but these guys are pros. They have customers who are like very large customers. So if my whole thought process was like, if a very large customer is using their streaming platform, they are like, their whole core is like video, so broadcasting, I would assume, and things of that nature. So I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be really good. And
Restream has really big customers as well, but that doesn't mean anything. They still treat us like rubbish.
Yes.
I think Facebook uses Restream. Facebook, the company.
Really?
Okay, Video Link. So do they have a lifetime deal?
They had a lifetime deal on AppSumo.
Oh, they had one.
Yes, they had one. Like they
had one. About things that aren't available.
Yeah, they had one a few months ago. The founder is actually in our community. They're based in Toronto. I'm not sure if they're going to come back and do one, but if you look at their customer list, they have like service providers, tech companies. Impressive.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So they've got Verizon and okay. So they're like Restream basically, and OneStream and Switchboard Live. Is that what they're like?
Yes, they are like that. Yes, exactly. Multi-streaming platform.
Okay. Well, $210, was it? That was.
This is on my to buy list now.
Yeah.
Video Link, Heights platform, and Metrical. They're the three that I want.
Oh, Metrical. Oh, yes. I gotta look up for Metrical. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know whether I would keep Metrical, but I want to see it, because analytics platforms, like everything we've been talking about, they're not there yet.
Yes.
they're usually pulling in the API of the analytics from the set platforms and maybe doing a little bit of something else.
Yes.
And I bought something I bought BytePlay, I think it's called Byte something. And it does influencers. So it's like Social Blade. But I put in Australia and social media, and it came up with 10 Americans who have less views than I do. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Why are they influencers?
Because they're American.
That's kind of common. It's not, and it's okay if you're in America and you've got a hashtag service, because the hashtags will be popular in America, but they won't be the same ones that are here in Australia. And the same with the influencers. And so I always feel like analytics tools of any kind, there's not quite the AI there yet. They're pulling in the data from the APIs, the Facebook analytics and the Twitter analytics and all of them, but they don't know how to interpret it yet. So I think we're quite a few years away from that.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Okay. I think, yes, we have been online for almost 2.5 hours. So I'm going to break the session before I put it on YouTube. But I think it was really, really educational. I mean, for me, because I've been thinking around what platform I should pick. And it's funny, Laurel, that you mentioned that you did a course for Cisco, because, like, you know, we are a Cisco advanced collaboration partner, and with a team of multiple, like CCIE, which is like one of the highest level of certification you can achieve with Cisco. So, like, my brother, like, you know, like we have, like, and me, we started it, and then we have like a team who are multiple like Cisco certified experts, and we wanted to do training to train like solution architects and design like network architects, right? So we're looking at a platform from that perspective. So a lot of good tips tonight. So I'm certainly going to go and watch this so I can absorb everything again. So thanks for sharing all the expertise on the various platforms, Laura. And thanks a lot, Win, too.
Thank you for having me. It was good fun. Thank you.
Thanks, Laura. Yes. You got some.
Well, you can join us every Saturday, right? I mean, normally we do it on a Saturday, so you're most welcome to join anytime. Yes.
All right.
That's
Thanks,
Sunday
guys.
Lunchtime for me, so that's good. Thank you. It's a public holiday today, so all good. Thanks, guys. See you.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Laura. Thanks a lot, man. Bye.
Thank you, Neelish.